Revival. I'm in the building.
Let's go.
Live with the Wolfhard Roar!
Let's go.
Let's go.
Y'all know what this is. Peace and blessings. It is your boy, Eli Rax, a.k.a. Vibes, and welcome to New York Revival, where it's not just sports, it's entertainment. And I'm here with my brothers, man. You guys know who they are, and that's Mr. Glass Half Full, and that's
Speed the Genius.
Whoa. What up, everybody?
I like that. I like
Go.
And of course, my brother El Jefe, aka White Jersey, aka Blue Jersey, aka started from the bottom. Now we're here, girl. That's what it is, man. I like that. I like that.
You see the passion in that, right?
He's like, started from the bottom. Now we're here, girl. Yo, cool. And shout out to you. Yes, you, the revivalists in the chat. Please hit that thumbs up, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate all the support, guys. We have a special guest in the building, of course. We'll be on later on today, which is Mr. Tiki Barber himself, New York Giants Ring of Honor and a WFAN afternoon host. Been doing that for quite some time now, and I want to get into some stuff today. But, man, we got some news, gentlemen, and we got to talk about it. Guys, hit that thumbs up, please, man. Should we go around the room and just say how excited we are at this point?
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm going to start with you, Mr. Glass Half Full, man. How excited are you, man? The Giants got Russell Wilson, people. Russell freaking Wilson is now a New York Giant here. You already know, man. It's about time. Let's ride.
Wow.
Let's go.
Wow.
Speed, how you
Big
feeling
Blue.
about this, man?
Go Big Blue. I think that's what you say. Go Big Blue. Bang, bang. And he's, go Big Blue. Listen, what a time to drop this news. I mean, almost too perfect for us. We got the legend, Tiki Barber, the talking head for the New York Giants, coming on before he could do his own show to talk about what happened. Our newest quarterback, and our quarterback room is finally coming together. You could argue it's one of the best. It's been top to bottom. I mean, even pre-Eli days. Like, I'm talking about, like, you have two veterans. At least you have two veterans now, and potentially, if you draft a rookie, that's a stacked room of not stacked. Okay, it's got depth.
The internet was like, he didn't just say stacked. Let's shut him down.
Yeah,
shut him down.
Let's
shut him down.
Here I go again.
Right now. Right the F now.
You're back.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anywho, listen, I misspoke by stacked. It's filled now. It's filled with the two veterans. It's filled, and I feel a little bit better about the situation now. We don't have to force what's going on at 3. We let it come to us, and that's what I like a little bit better about the situation we were just prior to today. So I'm excited to talk about it. I have a lot more to say about it, but I want to hear Jeff and Eli's thoughts first. Go, Jeff.
I'll go real quick. I think this puts us in a better spot for the draft. Spiro alluded to it. You don't have to force something or be desperate. Certainly don't have to trade up to 1 now and leverage next year's first and more. That's not what we wanted to see. And there's a chance Shedeur still falls to you at number 3. Mm-hmm. But they don't have to take him now. They absolutely can, because at some point you're going to need that quarterback of the future, but you don't have to right now. You don't have to force it. So you have 2 starters. Like Jameis by himself was an upgrade in terms of he'll push the ball down the field. This guy will sling it. This is good for neighbors. This is good for putting up points. And our defense is improved. Previously, anytime we turned the ball over, the game was over because we didn't score points. But if you got a guy who's going to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns in a game, you know what I mean? Then you can win games still, or at least more than we have in the past. So that was an upgrade in itself. Now you get Russ, who's your starter. And now the room, like you said, is filling out, beefing up a bit. And now you can go get a defensive stud if you want. You can get Hunter, who's like the unicorn of this draft. What is he going to be in the NFL? Like a really exciting option. So I feel less stressed. What a time to be alive. What a time to be going to Green Bay for the draft.
Oh,
the Giants have the 3rd pick, baby. Anything can happen. I'm so stoked. We got to talk about that draft a little bit. But Eli, what's your reaction?
I mean, listen, I'm a guy that kind of wanted Aaron Rodgers here. I get the whole theatrics of him coming here and why people didn't want him, but I thought he was the best free agent quarterback that we had available, that can come in here and actually do something to make a run. But I'm not mad at Russell Wilson. I mean, it's the next thing coming in here, so why not? I'll do it. But what this tells me, and this tells me only, that the Giants think that two quarterbacks are going to go off the board, 1 and 2. I think this is their plan C, D, whatever the heck you guys want to call it at this point. But I think the Giants understand and realize that Cam Ward and Shador Sanders can go. So they'll go, okay, let's go get a developmental guy later in the draft. Is the Jackson Darts of the world there? If the Milrows are there, I think those guys will be content by drafting those guys probably in a second or third type of round there and then have them come in. But that's all this screams to me, is that the Giants are just covering their bases because they feel a quarterback, this is not going to drop to them. If Cam or Shador was to drop to them, then yes, the third pick will be that. And I do understand a lot of people will go, man, hey, give me Travis Hunter, give me my guy from what's his name, the linebacker. His name
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. I get it. Those guys are the generational talent, as people will like to throw around, or whatever the case is. Especially my guy Hunter. I really think he's one of those guys, those two-way players. But the Giants, not to say the pressure is on them, they really like the quarterback. It's not to say that they want to get the best player available. Yes, but they like the quarterback, and they might be high on that board, whether we feel so or not at this point. These guys are professionals. So if one of them falls, I think they'll draft a quarterback. But I really think they understand, like, these two are going to go. So let's get Jameis in here for 2 years and at least lock in Russell while we can actually get a developmental guy in this draft here. But overall, I'm excited, man. We'll see what happens. I just don't think Russell Wilson moves the needle for me, per se. And I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Does this make the quarterback room better for the New York Giants? And I'm going to start with Hef here. Especially in the Joe Montego regime.
This is the best it's been in 6 years. You got this offense has been so pitiful to watch. It's been so uninspiring because it's had no balls. It took no shots. Like, how many times we're like, Daniel, just throw the ball. Just throw the ball. You got guys their whole life who have been receivers who just want a chance at the ball, and you just don't throw it. And it's like, you can't win that way. It was coward football in a league that is completely set up to throw the ball. You can't touch the receivers. You can't touch the quarterback. Maybe you should throw it more. Now you got two guys that are not afraid to do that. But we get this O-line. Let's stack this O-line a little bit, right? Let Tracy get hot. And then you're not asking the quarterback to throw it 35 times a game either. And I think what Russ showed in Pittsburgh, he obviously ran out of gas at the end, but he's a guy who came into Pittsburgh in a pretty good situation. And I think he ran off like 5 straight wins. He was playing solid football. He made Tomlin look smart for moving Justin Fields to the bench and starting him when they were 4-2 or something with Fields. So I think Russ still has some football left. And he's an upgrade, to answer your question. This is a much better situation than we've had. At least we can evaluate people around. You know what I mean? We can evaluate the offense better because we have NFL quarterbacks now.
100%. Listen, what they had to do is they have to win this year, right? You can't have another 3-win year or else your job is done. And what's the best way to protect against that is to stack the room with veterans just in case 1-2 doesn't go your way. They've got word from Aaron Rodgers that he wasn't coming. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers was their number 1 choice. Well, sorry, he was their number 2 choice behind Stafford. But then Rodgers became the number 1. And as soon as the tweet came out today, I saw that Rodgers is close to making a decision. The Giants know which way he's going. And it all signs point to either Steelers or Minnesota, but it's not going to be us. So they pivoted to Russell Wilson. I want to ask the people that are upset about this move, what was the alternative? What was the alternative to getting, stacking the room with 2 veterans? Now, Russell Wilson, we can all agree, is better than Jameis Winston, right? Like, even if it's marginable, I think that Russell Wilson is more experienced and has recently been a better player than Jameis has. And you also stack against, hey, if he gets hurt, you have another veteran, so you don't have to throw in this potential developmental quarterback. Say you get a Jalen Milrow, you don't have to burn him and make him look foolish in year 1. So you've stacked against protecting your rookie quarterback potentially that they do get. It also stacks against losing your first two options in Cam Ward and Shador. And then it helps them win this year. There's so many check boxes that have now been checked because of these two moves that it just takes the pressure off a little bit. It takes a little bit of the pressure off. And that's all I really wanted for this to happen before heading into the draft, a monumental draft. And now you can go big game hunting on defense, still potentially get your quarterback. Like, think about a scenario where now you could maybe trade back if Shador's not there. Trade back and maybe get a Mason Graham. I don't know. It depends on where you trade back to, but you could now potentially get a Jackson Dart a little bit later if you have more tools, picks to move back up in the first round if you want to. You know, it gives you options now. They could mess around, trade back, take the best defensive player, or take a quarterback. There's 3 legitimate options now, and I'm happy about that.
And they didn't spend too much.
No, nothing.
True, but I mean, listen. Let me be honest with you guys here. All right, love Russell Wilson, but he's not the Russell Wilson of Seattle. All right. Is this the best quarterback room as far as the regime for Brian Daboll and Joe Shane? Yeah, a tad bit. They got people that are shelling themselves at this point, in my opinion. Russell Wilson could probably still throw the ball, whatever the case is, but they'll probably win another 3 or 4 games this season. I just don't see them being the Giants that's going to come in and be like, man, they're going to compete in the division. I just don't see it there. I get the excitement that we actually have a veteran quarterback or whatever the case is. I get it. That knowledge it's unbeatable. But the arm strength and et cetera just isn't there. Ran out of gas in the midseason or later on in the season. You know what I mean? So
I think Russ could still sling it. I think he could still sling it. At least the moonshot. So. He was never like a super power thrower, but he's got a nice touch on a deep ball.
And listen, guess who else had a nice touch and couldn't throw the damn ball? Daniel Jones that was here.
Yeah, but Russ takes chances. Right? That's the difference, right?
And cool. You then look for the interceptions and etc. that goes with it. We can't hang out here because you guys are like, hey, at least he's giving him a chance. He could throw 30 interceptions. Daniel Jones could have did the same.
Is that what I sound like? Is that what I sound like?
That's what the most of Giants.
Is that your white voice? Did you just white voice me?
Yes.
Yeah, right. But they're like, well, at least it's fun to watch. But we was just yelling at Daniel Jones for throwing all them picks, especially.
Yeah, but Russ doesn't throw picks. That's the beauty of it. He's only had 5 last year.
But you guys are saying at least they're giving him a chance. But this guy's check down artist too. Don't get it twisted. He's still a shell of himself. He's just not the guy that's going to be coming in here like he's back in Seattle. I don't feel it that way. Yes, they'll win a couple more games, but I just don't think they'll compete for the NFC East. They're not going to be there. Not going to compete for a wild card either. They're going to win enough games to where they can't get a quarterback, right? And then they're going to keep their jobs, and it's going to be the same cycle again. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know.
You wanted Aaron Rodgers. We weren't going anywhere with Aaron Rodgers either, and he would have cost more. And he would have been
free agent. That's the best free agent acquisition we could have had. Aaron Rodgers still had something left in the tank, better than Russell, in my opinion.
Let me read you a stat. real quick. This is average air yards. This is air yards. Okay. This is 7.2 for Jameis Winston. Right. That's a good number. Russell Wilson. 7.6, and let's go to Daniel Jones, 5.62. That's the number of yards you're throwing in the air. So 2 yards less per throw. This guy's. You talk about check down king. We had that in Daniel Jones. These guys, Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, they like to air it out. And Winston's problem is that he airs it out a little too crazily. Russell Wilson still could chuck it deep. Pickens had a good year with Russell, and I think that you'll see the same with Malik. He throws a beautiful deep ball. It's not a cannon deep ball, but it gets to exactly where it needs to go. It's placed in a bucket every single time, and he's not afraid to take a chance. If you watch like the video from last year, I'll send you the clips. Like he had about 14, 15 deep passes. None of them were like wide open at the time. The guys were on him each time, but he throws it in a way that only the receiver can get it, and he gives his guy a chance. Daniel Jones never gave our guys a chance. He just didn't take the chance.
Yeah, I don't even want to make this about Daniel Jones. I just want to.
Just use him as an example.
I know.
Yeah.
all roads lead back to Daniel Jones and what he did to this beloved franchise.
So let me ask you this: how many
go
more wins you expecting the Giants to win? How many more wins with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in it?
You want to go first, Joe?
I hate to play the if game because you do, regardless of who the quarterback was.
I'm just acting straight up, man. No chaser.
How many games do we win if Russ starts the whole year?
Absolutely.
Probably 7. But what is Aaron Rodgers get us 8?
Maybe 9.
We're not winning the division
Well, so
regardless.
7 to 9, right? That's. But let's see how much Aaron Rodgers is going to make. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to make at least double of what Russell Wilson has.
Exactly. You're talking about a 41-year-old who's going to be at least maybe 3 times, way more expensive. With the way this Giants team is built, I like the way they went.
They'll probably ask for 2 years too, by the way.
Yeah. This is a 1-year situation too. That's another good point. Like, I think what's a little weird is if you knew Russ was available when you signed Winston. So I guess Winston was just so cheap that it was like, let's just add him.
Right.
And then Russ still came in. I mean, he's guaranteed 10.5. That's it.
It's nothing, dude. That's nothing.
Listen,
he gives you a shot.
Good Lord. Here we go.
Well,
but go ahead, guys.
Listen, we could have blown out again. You saying that maybe Aaron Rodgers comes in here and wins 9 games as opposed to 7 from Russ.
Maybe 10. But
you have to couple in the 20 extra million per year.
I would have got him 10.
Right.
Oh man, listen, we all wanted Rodgers here, but he just wasn't. It seemed like the more and more time went on, ever since the first mention that Rodgers to the Giants was a thing, it felt every day that went on, it was less and less likely to happen. It's like he reached out to us to get us in the race because he knew, hey, Rodgers to the Giants, that's a big thing, and it's going to drive up his price. That's what it seems like all it was at that point. He just drove up his price, and now he's going to end up with the Steelers. It's going to take 6. It's going to take 6+ with a couple of tough losses.
Man. Yeah, I think their floor is 7. I think they have to win 7 rows.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, with some fun, happy, like make losses fun again. Yeah,
like 34-31.
Right. This is what we're doing. We're making losses fun again.
Hey, you gotta crawl. You gotta crawl first.
Oh my
Eli,
God.
we are crawling. We're crawling out of the dumpster, bro.
Right,
we're third pick in the draft. We gotta get to that 6 and 7 wins first.
You're right.
We weren't going 3 wins.
Oh, come on, Speed.
To 10, 12. That you can't.
You're back.
All right, you get.
But delayed. Yeah. You're delayed, but you're back.
Sorry, you don't see a 3 to 10 win jump. You don't see the 7+ win jumps. So you got to get to 8, 9 first with some competitive losses in there, and see that your defense is at least heading in the right direction. Your offense is starting to head right direction. These guys allow us to. Maybe we could see what Hyatt has. Maybe we could see what Wan'Dale Robinson has and assess that for the following year.
So let me ask you this: if the Giants win these, let's just say they're short. They're short because we just said 6 games, right, or 7 games. If they give you 5, you firing these guys and starting all over. And it's competitive football. I mean, it's competitive. It's watchable. These guys are throwing it all over the place, but they're missing by a field goal. They're missing by a turnover here, and it's competitive. Are you firing the whole regime here at this point?
You may not have to if it's competitive football, and it's if they have a, that's where it's weird. If you draft a rookie, right, he's 3rd naturally on the depth chart. He's not even going to be active for the first several games. So, do you see that guy flash at all? Because should you see that rookie start to show some things down the stretch, that would do a lot for them keeping their jobs. But now they don't have to, right? So now they might be looking at a developmental guy. If you do draft Shador, does he bypass Jameis when it's time? It becomes interesting, really interesting.
Yeah. It is. And guys, before you say something, guys, we are waiting for Tiki Barber.
Oh, yes.
He is joining the show a little bit later on, about 9:30-ish, guys, 9:45-ish. He'll be on. Don't worry about it. But show business, man. We got to make sure that we make some things happen for him.
2 quick things. We got to talk about
the
draft, and then we got to get to super chats.
Yes, please.
So I just want to say the super chats, we always appreciate them. You know that. And anybody who's been listening the last couple of weeks, you know what the deal is. But we are headed to the draft. And we're going to be in Green Bay. We're taking you with us, going to document the whole thing. And so any super chats are going right towards that trip, right? It's going to be the flight, hotel, the rental car. Spiro just offed himself.
I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm trying to get myself adjusted here.
All right. But we have a goal. We want to raise $500 before the draft. We got just under a month to do it. So we're going to track it. We're, whoever donates, we're keeping track of everybody who did and what they gave. And it's hugely appreciated. We're going to keep track of all this.
Oh, yeah.
But you're sending us there, and the goal is to take you with us with how we're going to document the whole experience. So really exciting. That said, Eli, we have some super chats to get us started here.
Yes.
Holy shit, a super chat.
That's right. Right off the bat. Sees day one. I mean, this guy fired off before we said hello. This guy sent this in. We talk about
champion Milrow, man.
I mean,
champion him.
Developmental quarterback. You're talking about you don't have to take
he's in play.
Sanders. You got possibly a Milrow that you can be developing. Dude's got a ton of speed. He's got stuff to work with. He just needs some time. And if Dable, I can't believe it took 4 years, but we wanted Dable to get his hands on a rookie quarterback and mold him. And now, I mean, he's probably going to have a chance either way. They're going to have to draft a quarterback.
Hef, let me just say this because some people's asking where the super chat's at. Guys, if you head over to YouTube, which I believe the link is in the comments of the live show, you can jump on and do the super chats there as well as only through YouTube. But we do see the people from X. We'll try our best to get to you guys, obviously. But YouTube is the better way to kind of get in touch with us, guys. It'll really help out a lot if you head over there. So we appreciate that.
Search New York Revival on YouTube and just join the live on YouTube. I agree. It's a better experience here.
I think we're also gonna try and make one of those corny little thermometers. We'll maybe draw a couple pictures on it. I don't know. We're gonna make it fun. We're gonna make it interactive, and we need you guys, and we love you guys for helping us get to where we're trying to go.
I bet,
and we can't do this without you guys.
I bet Greg C could help us out.
We
set our goal. Greg helps us out in the background here, and maybe he can help us with. We don't want a thermometer. We want something cooler, like a road to Green Bay with the three of our bobbleheads.
I like that.
Traveling to Green Bay, and the 500 is Lambeau.
Fucking
Peter, somebody where's Greg and where's Bartlett? Where these guys in at here?
So thank you, C's. Let's.
Thanks, C's.
Peter really wants me to go off on
he does
things tonight. He wants angry Giants fan. He wants Chef A, and he wants me to grill Tiki. So we'll see what kind of mood Tiki's in. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes. All joking aside, short-term baiting and long-term problem. If Sanders is there at 3, you pounce. They may very well do that. But in the event that the Browns take him, now you're okay. You say, okay, give me Carter, give me Hunter, and you don't have to worry about it.
And Eli, this is where we, me and you were thinking about having the Ward and Shador conversation, but maybe we have to start thinking about the Milrow viewers conversation or Shuff. We got to start adjusting to maybe now the developmental quarterbacks come into play, and they can't skip this whole draft without getting a young quarterback. They have to have some kind of guy for the future because these are all, like we said, short-term deals, just like Pete just said right now. And you have to give something to the fans and something to the front office and ownership being like, hey, we can develop a young quarterback. This is why we're here. And these guys are brought in. They're not going to have to work with Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Like they're going to tell them the offense. Those guys are going to go to work and do their thing. They're gonna work hard on this developmental quarterback, whoever that may be, but it needs to be somebody. It needs to be somebody because, again, Russell Wilson, you don't have to teach this guy. He's seen all the coverages. He's seen all. You tell him what the offense is. Him and Jameis tell him what the offense is, and you work on every day of practice with the quarterback coach, and you're getting that rookie ready to go for 2026. That should be your number one goal at the quarterback position.
No, listen, Speed, I get it, man, and that's very well in play. I think with the moves that the Giants are making, especially signing those two veterans, that they can go in the later rounds just in case. Again, if Shador's there, I get it, but if those two quarterbacks are gone, I think for sure that these guys are going to go. All right, let's get best player available. Then we go get these developmental guys and try to do the best we can. There's some good people there. I mean, and I said it in the past that it's a bigger drop off than the first two quarterbacks that are in there. But if you're giving these guys time to learn the NFL, to learn the system, to learn that stuff, and again, if we're drafting these developmental guys at the end, guys, give these guys a chance. Then give Shane and Dayball a minute to develop the guys that they're looking for. That we got to give them time. We're saying, okay, we're content with them developing a guy later on in the draft, right? We got to give them time to develop them. Then we can't be like fire them if they win 2 games. Then, right? So, with that being said, yes, I'm looking at the Jackson Dart, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Speed. I actually did a little more homework on Milroe. I think he's climbing up the ladder. I do think I still have Jackson Dart as my third, and I have Milroe as my fourth. But I could do a 3A and 3B conversation. But I still have Jackson Dart ahead. But Milroe, he's a special talent too, and the fact that he's teachable, he's coachable, Speed. That's what I like about him. That he can be developed into something good in the NFL, and he can run too. Now, Jackson Dart can too. Don't get me wrong, but I just like the way that Milroe thinks, man. And I'm just like, yo, man, this guy can take criticism. This guy can learn. This guy can grow. That's what I like about him and why he's climbing up the chart for me. But I think it's a good freaking chance, man, that they just might go to that lane as far as that you're thinking of, Speed. Take a guy later on in the draft, develop him.
Yeah, his floor is at the very least an elite runner, which is a great floor to have.
Yeah,
and he checks a lot of the boxes of what Dable wants. Mobile quarterback, big arm, and teachable. And he's from a big program at Bama. He's had like NFL level coaches. So I'm excited to see Dable get his hands on a guy like that. And it seems like he doesn't have the prototypical height per se, and I think that's why he's not being mentioned as a top 5, top 10 pick. Very inconsistent, needs a ton of work on his footwork, but that's why you draft him in like the second round. Let him sit for a full year. Now, full year. Like Jameis, if Russ, folds or gets injured, you have Jameis. Yeah, but listen, even better because look at look at my man from Green Bay. He just went to Green Bay right now. I'm drawing a blank. No, not even Love. Malik Willis. Same kind of quarterback in that he elite level running ability and needed to be able to read defenses better, work on his footwork. He goes to Green Bay and now he comes into games in his year 3 after the Titans took a chance on him and blew it. But now they put him in too early. Now he looks like an NFL quarterback. He's getting some good reps in, and that's where you see the real progress. So it'll be interesting to see though. Like, man, a 5th year with Jalen Miller would be awesome. That extra year, if he was a first rounder, do you hop it 2 picks to get him in the first round? Shouldn't be a ton to move up from 34 to 32, and you get an extra 5th year now with him to work with him, under a cheap contract for a little bit longer. So that'll be interesting to see what they play there. But holy shit, we got a lot of super chats to get to, guys.
Hold on, we got to hit it one more time.
Holy shit, a super chat.
We need super chat music.
We'll work on that.
What would that be?
We'll work on that.
Okay. Ooh. Hold on. Let's put one up.
Does this feel like super chat music?
Ooh,
I need a little bit something more, a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, we need something a little more, but we'll take this. Go ahead. This is your segment.
Joseph.
Do your thing.
Joe Clark. Super chat for 1 beverage in Green Bay. We appreciate you, Joe. I know you'll represent us well, gents, and I love Milroe with a second or trade back at the first. Me and Joe are mind melting here. It sounds crazy to take him a little bit hot, like maybe he's a little higher than you want, but that extra 5th year option for a guy that needs maybe like we said 2 years of development, it gives you 3 years of cheap contract as opposed to 2, which again, you guys know quarterback contracts. That's huge. So definitely an interesting thought. C's back for more. Let's go, C's. We love you, man. anybody moving back and taking Tyler Warren, the elite tight end from Penn State, game changer in the playoffs. I don't know if you guys watched. He could be a game changer at tight end, but do you want to go tight end?
Probably not. Is he projected first round?
Yeah, he's going top 15. He's going top 15 at this point, top 10 potentially. He's a great talent.
It's like that.
But can we go tight end? Do we want to go tight end?
No.
No.
I'd rather go defense. If we're talking our first round, obviously, because Carter or Hunter. It's just you can't pass on them for a tight end, even if you get. It depends what capital you're getting, obviously, but to go back and take a tight end feels a little bit like going back and taking Tony when Parsons was on the board, and I can't do that again.
That's no. Please don't smear Tyler Warren's name, please.
No offense to him, but I'm just saying if Parsons is on the board, if Carter's on the board, you just take him.
Hey. We have a just because.
Just because.
Matt Storm. I think this is a first timer here, so appreciate you, Matt.
Appreciate you, Matt.
Your first super chat, and appreciate it just because they count just as much, if not more.
Guys, we're already 10%. 10% on the way to our goal.
Look at this.
50
this is what we love.
So much, man.
This is what we love to see.
Shout out to you, Matt.
Pete, back for more again. I want the window seat, otherwise I'm not coming.
I'm an aisle. That's fine. I will never take the window seat. I am an aisle seat all day for so many reasons. Okay. What if I have a bathroom emergency? Number one.
Yeah.
That's
Number two, what if shit goes down on the plane? You're gonna want me on the aisle, okay? I'm no good on the window side.
We are all doomed, bro.
Yeah.
We're all doomed, bro.
But
yeah, I'm an aisle seat guy all day, every day.
I used to be, when I was a kid, I used to love being by the window, and I used to like having something to put my head on. So that's why I was okay with being towards the wall. But the older I get, get me closer to the aisle now. Easy exit. 100%.
I can't sleep on. I'm going to be way too excited on this trip.
No, there's no chance, dude.
Yeah,
I'm going to be boozing my ass off.
We're going to be fired up on this flight.
Hey.
Boozed up, fired up,
Hey.
everything.
We miss the weekly Precious. Precious is great having you in here as always. She is personally sending us to Green Bay on her dime.
She's donated enough for a lifetime. She's the best.
Not only that, man, every season. Yeah, her birthday is this Sunday, man. So shout out to you.
Shit. Okay, Presh.
Happy birthday, Presh. I just want to give her I want to give her something back. How do I get in touch with her, E? I want to
talk after the show. Talk after the show. We'll talk after the show. Say no more. I got you. Yeah, man. And
right.
Shout out. I'm going to say shout out to my son too. His birthday is Thursday. Shout out to my guy too.
Happy birthday.
Yes,
man.
Let's go.
Well, he'd be like, Dad, you forgot me. I'm like, my
go, nephew. Let's go, man. And one more just because.
Oh, fire pit.
No.
That's our guy. Fire
Good
pit.
friend of the show. Love Fire Pit Joe, man. And thank you so much for that drink, because we will use that drink hot something wild. It's gonna we might we should put bring sticky notes with us and have everybody super chat name that super chat, put it on something, whatever we get, even if it's a beer or it's a hat or something ridiculous.
Oh, we still got some more supers here. Let's go.
Wait, what?
Kevin.
Hey.
I love Kevin.
Man, what is this in here?
This is a
Ireland,
UK.
I'm representing UK and Ireland.
Oh my God, Kevin! Appreciate you for checking in at the wee hours. If Sanders is there at number 3, we take him. If not, or he's gone, and draft Carter. Do you entertain trade offers for K Thibs? Love from the cross the pond. Much love on our side too.
Hell yeah.
Guys, what do you think? So, two questions.
On one hand, I would say this is the time to trade Tibbs before you got to pay him, right? But on the other hand, I'm like, I love having more pass rushers. Injuries happen, guys get tired. You in the fourth quarter, man, you want those pass rushers. So I lean towards keeping them, unless it's an offer that you can't refuse. But I lean towards keeping them.
And what happened to the pass rush when Thibodeau missed X amount of games last year? It war burns down. It wore Dex down. There was nobody to put in there. We can't just keep having 2 pass rushers and that's it at the edge every year. It doesn't work. So
I think people sometimes put Thibodeau too close to Evan Neal just because they were drafted that way.
Yes.
They are not. Thibodeau is not the absolute bona fide stud that we drafted him to be, but he is not in an Evan Neal category. He's not
agreed.
Like Evan Neal hasn't been usable. So I would say keep Thibodeau. He's still a solid player. He's just under. He's just not what we wanted him to be yet. But he's still a good player. What do you think, E?
And let me say this too, man. I mean, we always want to trade somebody that just didn't make the cusp just yet. Yes, yes, like you said, Hef, we draft him to be a stud. He just hasn't turned out to be. But think about it this way: we draft him to another team, and he plays lights out. We'd be like, damn, we drafted him to be that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? So keep him, man. See if you can continue to develop him. See if you can. Hopefully he'll find catch fire and go from there. But I'll tell you this though. Right? Speed, you're onto something there, Speed. In a way too, you know what I mean? So I think like you said, you keep him, man. You see if he could go from there because the pass rush hasn't looked that great when he got injured. Keep him in there, see what happens. Then you get Abdul Carter and let him go from there. What was that?
And what happens if he goes off and he leaves after next year? Wait, so is this his 4th year coming up? His 4th year, right?
This is his 4th year, yeah.
All right, so we still have him for a 5th year, so there's no sense in trading him now. It just doesn't make sense. I know you might get more value, but the chances that he bounces back are pretty high, I'd say. And we're trading him at his lowest value right now. It just doesn't. There's so many reasons not to be trading.
And you wouldn't trade him after his double-digit sacks. Like you want pass pressure. So I don't think they're that eager to. Thank Kevin. You just answered my next question. You got to decide by May 30th.
Rumors were that I think that they're picking it up. I don't know if they did it right.
I mean, he's a pass rusher, and that's a really expensive position. So, by May 30th, so you'll know if you have Carter or not, right? And then you can.
Let me ask y'all this: Are you are you declining it, or are you accepting this 5th year?
No, I'm keeping him at a cost efficient 5th year.
I'd probably keep him.
Yeah,
there's still part of me that
thinks you gotta, right? Like in a way.
I think there's part of me that still thinks he's a high caliber player, and that he just hasn't been able to unlock it yet.
16 mil, according to Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at the rest of the edges. That's not that. It's not that serious. Yeah. All right, but let's.
We just got finished. Never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
I know that's our whole quarterback room, but but wait till you see what his contract will look like if he balls out. Then they'll have a different decision to make. Those dudes
That's why we paid Daniel that, right?
I got a question. For you guys. Who do you think has a better chance of bouncing back and reaching close to their potential this year? Banks or Thibodeau?
Banks, hands down.
Okay.
The fact that he's getting secondary help and the fact that they're gonna, I guess, simplify it for him or at least play. I think they're gonna change the defense to actually make it his strong suit.
See.
These guys are more pressed. These guys are more man to man. Those guys they hate the zone thing. So if you just say, "Hey, that's your guy, go get him," Banks is gonna have that comeback season that we're looking for, or at least that we hoped him to be. That CB1. I'm hoping the CB1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not CB2, a good bona fide solid CB2. You know what I mean? So I think Banks is gonna make that comeback, man, hands down before Tibbs.
I'm going to take the other side of that. That's a good question, though. And I think because they brought in a lot of safety help, I don't think they're looking at Banks as their 1. I think they're starting to make plans for him as their 2. And I think, in theory, with the improved defense, and we're not done yet, the Giants should be in closer games, hopefully forcing more passing situations, and Tibbs can get closer to his potential.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that because if you think about it, theoretically, the improved secondary is going to give them a second more, right? A second more to get to the passer, and you have a full-time Burns in there. You have a full-time Dex in there. You got KT. Improved secondary gives you another second. It helps the pass rushers, and I think that's where KT is going to play like a man on a mission. He knows he's playing for his contract now. Like he's playing for the rest of his career. He's heard the slander. So I think it's we're in for a big year. But I don't
So,
know,
guys, really quick,
yeah.
really quick, guys. I just want to put something on for a special guest that's coming on here. I'm just gonna flash this for you guys here. All right. Now, guys, I just want you to know this is the red alternate, which I love, by the way. I'm gonna throw this on right now, right? Because, guys, growing up for me, it was easy when I was watching the Giants. I was a fan of this guy. Huge, by the way. Okay. I had this jersey till there was holes in it. All right. I didn't grow up rich, guys. I didn't grow up rich at all. So when I got this thing, I cherished it growing up. So I'm gonna put this on for our special guest. Because, guys, just in case you've been living under a rock, let me give you a little bit here. This guy should be a future Hall of Famer. No debate. This guy is on the afternoons of WFAN, and he holds the Giants Ring of Honor. He is in there. So when you go to MetLife Stadium, you see all the names in there. This guy is in there. If you don't know, now you know. It's our brother, your brother, Mr. Tiki Barber. Round of applause! Round of applause!
What's up, boys?
Round of applause, brother.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome
Good to
back,
be
man.
here with you all. Eli, you picked a great day to have me.
Yeah, we did.
Who would have done it, Dick? Who would have done it, brother? I was like, man, we're getting the exclusive before he goes on live tomorrow to talk about all this stuff.
Wild.
Tink, we're gonna throw you in the fire. I know you came in a little
p.m.
late.
WFAN, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Drop
Man.
that.
Tiki, I got to tell you something real quick. Last time you were on, we did a cheers, and I guess I got distracted and I forgot to actually drink it. And you
He's like,
gave
"I
me
ain't even
shit.
get
You
one
gave
this
me
time."
shit for that, and you said something. And you're like, you have to drink after you cheer. And I've not made that mistake since then.
Hold on. 1 minute.
Yes.
I know.
Go,
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
already know.
Yeah.
Guys,
give-
while we wait for Tiki, please, if you can, hit that repost button. If you can, hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want your super chats highlighted, guys, please head over to YouTube. You can ask Tiki a question or two, man. We guys, appreciate it. Of course, to drown a little bit of it out, guys, we're going to try to make a little bit of a minimum of a super chat today. $10. Get your questions highlighted to Tiki Barber here today. This way, we're not, filling up the super chats with too much crazy stuff here, guys. All right. But we have a Giants legend in the building. And of course, Tiki got to go get his drink now because Hefe threw him into the fire a little.
That's what the Irish guy does. What if the Irish guy doesn't do that? What does he do?
I forgot. I was tripping for a minute.
You see, bro?
Hey.
You see?
We're back now. We're back.
So, Hef,
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers, Tiki.
Let's
Welcome
go.
back,
See you,
man.
boys.
Cheers, my brother, man.
What are you
Thank
sipping
I
on over
appreciate
there?
it.
What are you sipping on?
A little Basil Hayden.
Yes.
Something way more manly than my iced
Well,
tea
Basil
Sun
Hayden,
Cruiser.
Basil Hayden's easy. That's an easy bourbon. So
It is.
it's like what is it? It's almost 10 o'clock, so something to settle down a little bit.
Exactly.
There you
Oh,
go.
good.
There you go.
So-
You're just missing a cigar or something, brother. Like we got.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife would kill me if I smoked a cigar inside.
There you go. Mine will too. Don't worry. Don't worry. But Teak, man,
All right,
we're
Let's
gonna
go.
got a few questions for you. Obviously, the news of Russell Wilson is the New York Giants. I want to get how happy you are. Are you happy with the signing? Do you think Aaron Rodgers should have been the choice, but unfortunately he's out of here? But just give me your thoughts on it, brother.
This is going to be interesting.
Okay.
So I know you guys probably heard this last year on the offseason Hard Knocks when they allowed Daniel Jones, or they released Daniel Jones, and they were before they released Daniel Jones, they were talking about what the quarterback room was going to look like. So Daniel Jones was going to be there. Tommy DeVito was there, and they needed someone else. They were talking about Tyrod Taylor. Ultimately, they signed Drew Lock. So the construction of a quarterback room is probably the most important thing you do in your offseason, especially if you have a young quarterback, and they don't have one yet, but I'm assuming whether it's they get whoever falls to them at 3, or whether it's Jackson Dart, or whether it's Jalen Milroe, or whoever else they come across in the later rounds, the construction of the quarterback room matters so much. And my initial thought, as soon as I heard this about Russ, was, man, this might be the most interesting quarterback room in the history of the National Football League. So,
Yep.
I mean, you guys know the person. Like, first of all, let's start with Tommy. You know Tommy. Like, Tommy,
Yeah, right.
Tommy is a friend to literally everybody.
Yeah.
Right? He is the people's champ. Everybody loves him. He's a dude. He can relate to the brothers. He can relate to the dudes from Ireland. He can relate to everybody. Yeah. And then you bring in Jameis Winston, who is just funny as hell, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the memes, you've seen the eating W's, right? You've seen the Lord save me from the interceptions. Like you've seen all of that.
Positive vibe.
Right, but that's how he is all the time. He's positive. He's energetic. He's just full of like vigor. He might not be a great quarterback all the time, but he's exciting as hell because he can throw for 50 touchdowns and 45 interceptions. Right. And then you bring in Russ, who is the antithesis of that. Like he's extremely cerebral and sometimes comes across as awkward. Right? We'll read it as corny because he's trying to be like meaningful and purposeful, but it just doesn't sound right. You know what I mean? We talked about this on our show on Evan and Tiki. We were talking about the corniest moments that Russ has had, and one was, we all know, the Mr. Unlimited speech. And you guys heard it. It's like Mr. Unlimited, right?
Unlimited.
Right. Hold on, but Hef, and like you remember when. Like, think about that speech. If he had given that seriously, not with like the clown image, like the voice, if he had been like, think about how unlimited you can be. Think about when you get challenges in your life, nothing's going to stop you because your potential is unlimited. It is real.
Oh, you've been doing radio, haven't you? That was such a better delivery.
That was good.
But hear me. Like, if he had given that seriously, it would have been fucking powerful, man.
Right.
And so, like, but there's like this little different thing about him. It's just
the awkwardness, the touch of awkwardness.
Yeah, exactly. So I am so interested in what this quarterback room looks like. And at the very least, Dave's is going to have his hands full because he is coaching 3 very different quarterbacks. And I mean, I'm going to hope for the best. Let's put it that way.
So I want to ask you about that because you kind of just mentioned Russ. Like, do you think he has what it takes to quarterback in New York? I know he wants New York. I think he wants like what happens behind the scenes, but can he quarterback in New York? Does he have what it takes? Because you know firsthand.
Well, part of that is not caring. It's not like giving a crap what people say. Because trust me, there are going to be moments. Actually, I don't even think it matters which one of these guys is starting, whether it's Tommy or Jameis or Russell. And I only do that in the order that they had joined the Giants. You're going to hate them. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, this is the most terrible quarterback we could ever have. There are going to be moments like that. Now, what's going to determine the success of the Giants is how long that lasts for us, you know, as observers, right? Do we believe that this is terminal and this is killing the franchise and killing the organization and killing the current regime? Or are we like, oh, well, the next game he rebounded from it. It was just a little blip in adversity. And so I think all of them can handle the chaos, the nonsense that comes with being in a New York environment. That's for sure. It's just a matter of outwardly, that is. It's just a matter of what it does to them internally. Like, does it crush their confidence? Does it make them, you know, I don't know, less aggressive? So there's so many questions around this. I just think about the conversations that are going to happen in this quarterback
room, right? Like only like a handful of people in that room, and Dable is a personality himself.
Yeah,
you know, when he loses his head on Russ, how's that going to go?
Well, I mean, I think Russ will handle it just because Russ is, again, he's very cerebral. Like, he understands it. He's been around for a long time. He's a veteran. If he gets screamed out, it is what it is. I think Jameis will talk back. Like, Jameis will be like, oh, no, coach, here's what was happening. You know, I was trying to do this, and I mean, I didn't see him, right? He was hiding behind the dude. I don't know
what do you want me to do? He was hiding.
I don't know why he went away 70 yards, but like, so I'm fascinated by how this is going to play out. It's almost.
How do you think they're going to be for the young quarterback, though? Say if Milroe comes in, can they learn under these two guys in separate ways?
So that's the challenge. That's the real challenge. Is that I do believe that they are going to draft another quarterback, whether that be one of these guys at the top that just falls to him, as we said earlier, or is this going to be just some kid, right? Whether it's the kid Tyler Schlaw from Louisville or Jalen Milroe, whatever. They're going to pick up somebody to give themselves as many options as they possibly can in that quarterback room. And who he gravitates towards is going to be telling, because I think the mentorship from Jameis Winston is very different from a mentorship from Russell Wilson, which is very different from, I don't want to call it mentorship because he's only been in the league for 3 years, but Tommy DeVito's kind of been around for a little bit. He's had some success. He's had some failures. But again, he is the everyday man. Like when I tell you this, Tommy DeVito is the most popular person in any room he's in, right? Just because he has that Italian personality. Like he wants to connect with you, right? He wants to know what you're feeling and understand you. And that's enticing just as a human, you know what I mean? And so I think it's going to be interesting to see when whoever they bring in, whoever the next quarterback. So I see them having 4, they'll probably keep 3. Where that dynamic tends to, and we're only going to know that once it happens.
And Tika, let me say this too, because we're looking at the later rounds for the quarterbacks as far as Milroe and the Jackson Darts of the world. But if one of these 2 quarterbacks that everybody's talking about, which is Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, if they fall to 3, do you see the Giants actually grabbing one of those particular guys? And if so, who do you think will be there?
When Aaron Rodgers was still in the mix, I would have questioned whether or not that was prudent. But now that it seems like he's headed to Pittsburgh and, Russ and Jameis are here, it doesn't make sense. The Giants still have holes in places. Like they've done well bringing in some defensive help. Holland, obviously, as a safety, and Paulson Adebo as a corner. Obviously, the 2 draft picks from last season are really good players. Newbin and Drew are going to be really, I think, are going to grow. And so, but you can never have too much, And so Abdul Carter, who is question marks because of that foot injury, but it's not going to affect his draft status. And then Travis Hunter, only because where's he playing, are I don't want to say can't miss, but those are 2 guys that you can see making a lot of Pro Bowls. And I've always had this philosophy about top 10 picks. If you are bad enough to get one, is you better draft a guy who is going to be a perennial Pro Bowler in the top 10. It's why I often have trouble looking at quarterbacks in the top 10, because unless they're like the Eli Mannings or the Arch Mannings that everybody's now talking about, for maybe 2027, because he might actually stay, right? So unless you're looking at one of these guys that you almost know is going to be a good quarterback and get to a second contract, I just question taking a quarterback in the top 10. It's just so hard. The other thing is that when you take a quarterback in the top 10, that 5th-year option is basically a franchise tag. So it's gonna cost you a lot of money. Now, when you're outside of the top 10, it's a completely different financial proposition. Yeah. And so it's just, if I was GM, this would be I think this is one of the hardest offseason the Giants have had in a long time, because they were completely desperate at quarterback, but they also have other holes to fill.
And they weren't
since the 2023 one.
They're not in a position of power in free agency or the draft, because they don't control the top 2.
They've done okay though in free agency. I think they've done not horribly.
For me, this takes the stress a little bit off, for the draft. So let me ask you hypothetically, you may have just alluded to it, but if Sanders is there, say Cam Ward goes, Abdul Carter goes, now you have Sanders, Hunter, Graham. What would you do with that 3rd pick right there?
I mean, I love great offensive linemen. I'm very biased because I had non-first round offensive linemen who were just freaking studs for my entire career. And after I even retired, they were great for another 4 or 5 or so, and won a couple of Super Bowls, most of them. And so I would look at Campbell, Will Campbell, because if you can get a guy who's a perennial star, look at what the Eagles have done. Right, it's been half a decade, probably more. They have all pro tackles, right? Jason Peters, Lane Johnson, but then they just keep drafting tackles, right? Jordan Mailata. Now, this was not the first round, but he was, he's a later round pick. But let's just take a project. Let's integrate him into the culture. Let's get him up to speed on what it means to be an Eagle. I hate to say that, but you know what I mean. And like Jason Peters moves on. Lane Johnson gets old. Jason Kelsey retires. They get 3 Pro Bowlers and an All-Pro. Somehow Jason Mailata was not a Pro Bowler, but he was an All-Pro. So 4 of those 5 guys, Mekhi Becton was the only one without any honors last year. 4 of those 5 guys are recognized as the best at their position.
That's insane.
And we wonder why they're good.
Yeah.
Right? Think about when the Giants were last good. It was
we were the Eagles before the Eagles were the Eagles.
Think about it, right? It was Kareem McKenzie and Chris Snee, and Soyberg was in there at center or at guard, and Chris why am I forgetting our center's name? Jeez, I'm forgetting.
O'Hara.
O'Hara, yeah. Sean O'Hara was our center, and David Deal was left tackle. Like they were great. And when you have a great offensive line, everything else just kind of falls in line, especially offensively. Your quarterback has more time to throw the ball. Your run game is more dynamic. And that's what happened, for the Eagles last year. There's a reason Saquon rushed for 2,000 yards. Yeah. Like we think he was great with the Giants. He was just very good with the Giants. He was great with the Eagles because they had the foundation to support what he does really well. Whereas I went back, I did this last year as an exercise for our show, our radio show. And I went and watched a bunch of Saquon's runs over the last 3-4 years. I mean, he's fighting for his life to get a half a yard, right? And in Philadelphia, he's got 6 yards before he's touched.
It's unfair. Like it's unfair.
And then he's a super athlete, and we wonder why he's ripping off 18 60-yard runs in the season. So the Giants need like the guts. They need the ass first, right? I always say this on our show. Get that ass first, right? And so they need that. So if it's all said and done, I think I'd go the tackle, as crazy as that sounds.
Oh my God!
I honestly haven't heard that yet, though.
We're triggered by high-end tackles at this point. I think that's why.
Because Evan Neal proved to be a failure, and it's not. It is what it is. It's a miscalculation. I think there's look. I've never been a scout. I've never been a general manager. I've never been an assistant general manager. But there is an it that everybody talks about. And like, what does it mean? And I don't think it's ever really defined, but having played for as long as I did and been around my brother and being around some championship teams, that it is, I want to be great. Right. And if you can look at someone, have a conversation with them, and they're just kind of laissez-faire, they're kind of like, I'm just doing what I'm doing. I don't want you. I want the player who wants to be great, even if it's unattainable. Right. I want to be as good as Dan Marino. Like, I want that kid. I don't want the kid that's like, I'm happy to be here. And so I think the Giants missed with Evan because I don't know if he wants to be great. Right. I think he wants to be here, but I don't think he wants to be great. And there's a difference, right? There's a difference on how you prepare. It's a difference on how you handle failure. It's a difference on how, you talk to your coaches. You want to learn from your coaches, how you find whatever issue is bothering you. Like for me, it was like fumbling. Like I went to the extreme to figure out how to fix that because I wanted to be
baby. High and tight.
But if you don't have that, it's hard for me to want you in the first round. And you're right. It's Tom Coughlin. It's really Gerald, my running back coach, but Tom gets a lot of it.
Yeah.
Now, guys,
speaking of fumbling issues,
real quick.
Wait, can I just say, can Tracy fix his fumbling issues?
I think he will. I chatted with him a couple times last year. We had a couple of their games, and one of the things I told him was like, just be conscious of contact, right? Because it's not about anything else other than when contact is coming, be conscious of it, and when you feel it, protect the football, right? Everything else you can do the same. I did it to the extreme, but It's ultimately when you feel contact coming. You'll have, as a running back, you just instinctually know when it's there, right? You know, just by pre-alignment and everything else, pre-snap alignment, when someone's going to hit you. That's when you have to go through protected, and then once you come out of it, you're okay.
Tiki, you were the best at sensing when that hit was coming and often ducking under it. And I loved that because like I'd rather you be available on the next play.
No,
and that's why you had such a long run. You didn't miss time.
I had that conversation with Brandon Jacobs many times because you guys remember Brandon wanted to blow up everybody. Right? He wanted to put his down and get that extra 3 inches or whatever it may be. Like, Brandon, the next play is so much more important. And look, it was time he learned, and he became a great back for us and won a championship. And I'm happy that I mentored him in at least a little bit of his career.
Real quick,
and guys, really quick, let's get to the super chats real quick, guys.
Yeah, we're catching up. Thank you, Steve, for
MVP.
that first one. But
you,
Fire Pit Joe, try Angel Envy.
Trying some Makers 100 for my birthday. So
cheers, boys.
Not bad. Cheers.
Oh, he said cheers. Hang on.
You got to drink, Hef. You got to drink.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
we got Tracy Blue. Love you, boys. Appreciate you all. We appreciate you, Tracy. Tiki, we did an infomercial together with your brother many moons ago. I still have that shirt off your back. Wow. Much love. Your puppy is too cute. She's
that's
our
newest puppy, Millie. Tracy wanted a cuddle puppy, and so we got a cuddle puppy. As opposed
you got a cuddler.
Yeah, my Sloopy wants to run all over the place.
That's awesome, man. What else we got, Hef?
That's it for now. All
right, perfect. So listen, I got a couple questions here for Tiki because a lot of people. I mean, just to go back a little bit to the quarterback room, do you feel like this is the best quarterback room in the Joe Shane and Brian Daboll era of them being here?
Well, interestingly, it is because of the success that both of these guys have had. I mean, Russell Wilson at one point was on a track to be a Hall of Famer, won a Super Bowl, was just a couple of feet short from a second Super Bowl. He was one of the elite multiple Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the NFL, but it was a specific system. Like we remember those Marshawn Lynch teams that were defensive built, run the football, take some shots, and he was really good at it. But I think a shift happened where he wanted to be more recognized as an elite QB, right? As someone who threw for 4,500 yards, 5,000 yards, and he pressed Pete Carroll to become more of a downfield passer. And that was the beginning of the end of that relationship. Now, the reality is over the last 4 seasons, he had a bad season and exit from Seattle. He went to Denver, basically got Nate Hackett fired up there. Second year, it was Sean Payton in Denver, and Sean Payton benched him at the end of the season and got rid of him. And then he spent 6 games or actually it was 11 games in Pittsburgh, and they didn't want him. So it's like when you look at the recent track record, it's not promising, right? The history is there, but the recent history is it's a little troubling. Jameis had the ability at one point. You thought he was going to be a superstar. The year that Bruce Arians took over in Tampa, he threw for 33 touchdowns, and it was like, man, this kid is awesome. Almost 5,000 yards. Yeah. Actually, I think he threw for over 5. I think it was threw for 51.
Yeah, it was.
I think he hit 5,000. Yeah.
Yeah, and 33 touchdowns. The problem, and he thought he was getting paid that year. The problem is he threw 30 interceptions. Like if he can ever gets delivered from INTs, Jameis Winston might be special. And we saw it with Cleveland for a couple of games last year, where he had at one game he had 4 touchdowns and 400 and something yards. It's like, dude, what the heck? But he threw 3 interceptions. And so there's a flaw that exists in his game. And honestly, this is me putting on my CBS Sports analyst hat. He has a very deliberate and slow delivery. Yeah. And the only way you can get away with that is if for us is if you're Kerry Collins. Right, Kerry Collins had a long windup. When that ball came out of his hand, it hit the target a half a second later, right? And so, like there's some mechanical things he could work on, but I think it's larger than that. The umbrella of that is like, can Dabes do for Jameis what Dabes did for Daniel Jones in 2022? And if he does really cut down on the interception, remember Daniel Jones led the league in interception percentage, the lowest that is, at 1.1%. It was tied with Jalen Hurts. If he can do that for Jameis, much like Sean Payton did that for Jameis in 2021, I believe was
that was
the year.
Big year. He was on pace for a big year that year.
Right? He was 5-2. You know, started 7 games. If Daves and Kafka and Shane Tierney can do that for him, then Jameis has a chance to be really good. It's just the turnovers are the problem. So when I look at the overarching, like all 3 of those guys, from Jameis to Russell Wilson to Tommy DeVito, even his little spark and his inspiration, whatever you want to call it, that he gives you, this is the best quarterback room that they've had. But is it ideal and winning? That's a massive question mark.
Right. I wouldn't say ideal. And isn't it easier though to, in your opinion, to coach down an aggressive quarterback as opposed to coaching up a conservative one, right?
Right.
Good question.
So I think the hardest thing, it is a great question. So I think the hardest thing, so I've called games for a long time, both in college and in CBS. And the last couple of years, I've done full seasons for CBS. So it's 18 weeks on the road, and you meet everybody, right? You see the coaches, you see the coordinators, you see the players, and mostly you see the quarterbacks, right? Because it's the biggest part of the story that we're telling. Now, the most successful ones that we've interviewed and had conversations with and told their stories on game days are Josh Allen up in Buffalo and Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Now they're different but the same, and they're the same in that they can have a conversation with anybody, right? Whether it's the guy who's up in a hunting tree or the dude who's breakdancing right on in the locker room. And like being able to have that immersive relationship around the entire team, because you are just naturally the leader. As a quarterback, whether you want it or not, you are the leader. And so there's the only quarterback that was somewhat passive in that regard, that had a ton of success that I can remember, was Eli. But Eli wasn't really like that in the locker room. Like Eli was awesome in the locker room. Like Eli was like what we see now. Like he was clowning you and all kinds of stuff. And
that's what you meant by comical. That's right. What you meant all that time ago.
People don't get it. People get it now, but they didn't. We get it. But that's how he is. Like he's just, you could relate to him. And the last thing you need is a QB who is just passive, because it just doesn't work.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You have to be a leader. And that's both on the field, demonstratively, but also in your communications with everybody. Like they have to believe in you. When you walk into a huddle and you get the call, the quarterback, me as a quarterback, I get the call from the huddle and from the coordinator, and I'm talking to all of you guys, right? I'm looking all of you in the eyes. You got to believe that what I'm telling you is going to be successful. And if there's any doubt from anybody, like, oh, this dude's full of shit, whatever, he don't care, right? Then you're not going to be successful. So like, when I see quarterbacks that have had a ton of success, that's the common denominator. They just naturally lead, and they're comfortable with everybody. And so to me, that's the most important trait. Most important trait for quarterback. The skill, what's his arm like, what's his arm talent, all that nonsense that we talk about, that's great. But you can be an average quarterback and be a great leader and still find ways to win. We've seen it over and over again. Like Jalen Hurts is not a great / Hall of Fame quarterback. He may be redefining what a Hall of Fame quarterback is, because he's been to 2 Super Bowls and he should have won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, including in that loss, right? So like, but he's a great leader, and you know it and you see it, and that's so important. So
You know who else?
If I was player personnel, if I was GM, like I would do all I can to find that dude because that matters more than anything. Even if you're not good, you know what I mean. Think about the season that Patrick Mahomes had last year. It was not good.
Yeah,
but that dude is a leader. Trust me, boys. When things come to snuff,
he did. Yeah,
I got you. Right,
Mm-hmm.
and they won 15 games. They lost 2, but the last one didn't matter. So they lost 1 game, and that was to the other guy that I was talking about, Josh Allen.
So guys, really quick, let's catch up with the super chats here because we got Tiki Barber here, guys, from WFAN, New York Giants Ring of Honor here, guys. But if you can, let's catch up with the super chats and get Tiki going a little bit.
Yeah, we got Mark who's just Tiki. I don't know if you know about this, but we're going to Green Bay. We're repping the Giants fans. We're shipping out for the first round. We're spending the night, and we're trying to get in there. We're going to interview everybody. We're going to get the vibes to everybody. So our people are helping us get there, and they're helping us.
They've donated to us. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
You guys, man.
I love that.
That's why we got Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mark B. That's awesome, bro.
He's the best.
Shout out to the 2,500 people in here watching Tiki Barber live. What else we got, people?
We got a couple of other ones. Let's get Tuto. I just want to get Tuto idea. I know we said $10, but that's close enough. This is our guy from across the seas, Tuto. Please ask Tiki, have his people call our people, make magic happen. Suit me up for the Giants. This guy. So if you don't know Tuto is an Italian rugby player,
national rugby,
built like a brick shit house.
Okay,
he's gonna take heads off, and he's always
okay. What does he translate to? What does he translate to for the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
position?
a Mailata. Maybe can we get another Mailata here?
Mailata's a rugby player as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mailata's got like unique but awesome technique.
Yeah,
and I think it's just because he's so damn big, guys are afraid. But rugby players have like unbelievable feet.
Hell yeah.
And so playing tackle in the NFL is about feet. Because as soon as you start having to like lean, I gotta lean to get that guy.
Yes.
You're done.
It's over.
But if you keep your feet in front of the guy, I mean, and you got that dragon mentality. You know what dragon mentality helps is?
Too, though.
Yep.
Good.
You know what dragon mentality is?
What's that?
What is that?
So that's when you get your hands on a dude and you basically hook them and plant them. And then you keep going and you drag them.
I like that.
I like that one.
And rugby comes with that good kind of crazy. Too.
Right.
Facts. We got one more. Malik. Appreciate you, Malik. Always appreciate the honesty and therapy from New York Revival crew and Tiki. What is a reasonable expectation for the season? According to Tiki, even if we don't go QB, can we expect a better product?
Well, Malik, yes, I think so, because I'm always glass half full. So I'm a Yankee fan. I'm like, look, I respect the Mets, so chill out, boys. So,
Yankee,
he's the only Met fan here. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. Trash him.
Like, I think about all of the injuries, but in my mind, I say, okay, but this is just an opportunity for everyone else, right? It's an opportunity for Clark Smith, an opportunity for Will Warren, right? Jason Dominguez better finally become an alien like everybody said he is, right? Type of thing. And so for the Giants, it's the same thing. Like, I have to believe that they're finally going to stay healthy. The biggest one, obviously, is Andrew Thomas, who has had, I think every season now, hasn't it been? Or maybe there's one season.
It might be.
One healthy, maybe.
I think there was one fully healthy, but he's been banged up every season. So health matters so much. We did a couple of those late Giants games with CBS. And, I felt bad for Dabes. Because he's talking about, like, I got this guy who we just pulled off the street. I got this guy who, maybe he's had 2 starts in his entire career. He's been in the league for 6 years. Like, it's hard to win when you're not healthy. And so I think the Giants have spent, and Joe Shane has spent a lot of time this offseason building depth especially defensively. And so I do think the product is going to be better this year. The one thing that obviously we all noticed was QB play. And in some ways it was unfair to Daniel Jones because he was coming off a bad ACL injury as well as a neck/shoulder injury. And he hadn't played for a long time. And those first couple of games were ugly. But once he got settled, he actually looked okay. I mean, the offensive line with some free agent additions, including John Runyon and Illuminor, felt like, man, he actually has some time to throw the ball. This could get good as the season goes on. But I almost felt like he was shell-shocked. And he took a long time to make decisions. And I believe that really frustrated Daves. Because he was now, you obviously know he took control of the play calling. So he was in control of this and he saw it going a certain way. And it was like, dude, just throw the ball, right? Just let it go. Yep. Take the risk. At this point, I'd rather you throw an interception than to hold it and get sacked. And so, I mean, I forget what game it was. We had a couple of 2-point conversions. And I remember screaming at the TV, like, it's a 2-point conversion. The only thing you have to lose, worst case, is 2 points going the other way. You cannot take a sack. No. And he took a sack. And it was just like what's going on here? Right. And so it was like paralysis because of whatever, over analysis. Maybe because he's been in a prove it situation his entire career. Right from the very beginning, he replaces Eli Manning. All right, prove that you can replace Eli Manning. That's not any fun. Fire your head coach. See if you can prove it with the new head coach. Right, you get hurt. All right, prove that you can come back and be healthy again. Get a new head coach and Daves. All right, prove that you can do it for Daves. All right, you had a pretty good season. You won a playoff game. All right, prove that you can do it again before we give you a contract. Like it was always this high pressure, prove it stuff for Daniel Jones, and so. I really like Daniel Jones as a person, and I like him at times as a player, but I felt like he was put in a position where it was not ideal. He was never, ever, ever comfortable. You guys know this because you followed my career. I didn't get good until I didn't have to worry about getting cut.
Yeah.
Right? They tried to replace me every year. Every single year,
whether it was all that stuff,
Well, forget for Ron Dane, it was Joe Montgomery. Before Joe Montgomery, it was was a running back from Houston. He passed away. Gary Brown, right? Gary Brown. Sean Bennett, they tried to replace me every year, and then eventually in 2000, I got good, and they stopped trying to replace me. In those last 4 years, I was so comfortable and I got it. And Daniel Jones never had that comfort to get it.
Even after he got paid, then he got injured.
Right. But it didn't matter because he got hurt right away. You're right.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what we do for all of our first round picks. We don't support them. Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham, Daniel Jones. You go to the linemen. Even Evan Neal didn't have the best of offensive line coaches. It just for once, I want to see us support our first round pick, our elite.
Yeah, Bobby wasn't great. The O-line, he wasn't great. So I hear you.
No, he wasn't. Let's be honest. But Tiki, man, I got to ask you a couple of things. And again, shout out to the 2,700 people here supporting the show. So we do appreciate you guys. Head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. But Tiki, there's a big debate, man. Coming from Giants land is that, the Giants will never draft a black quarterback. They'll never have a black quarterback facing the franchise. Here we are. They signed in two. What do you want to call that malarkey? But I just want to get your thoughts when you hear stuff like that, especially being a player that played for this franchise and this great organization. How do you feel when people actually say things like that pertaining to this franchise? And
you guys listen to Eli. You guys listen to me on WFN. I've had one really, really bad blow up, and that was around the whole the mayors are racist thing. And the mayors are family to me, and they treat me that way, and they respect me that way, and it's been that way since I was 22 years old. And so I don't want to hear that. I trust me, I grew up in Southwest Virginia. I know what a racist looks like, right? And it's not Wellington Mara or John Mara or Bob Tisch, who, by the way, took unbelievable care of me when I lived in the city, and he lived in the city as well. And we did everything together, everything. And so they're not a racist organization. It's the circumstances that they found themselves in. And let's not forget, Eli was the quarterback. Eli Manning, right? Soon to be Hall of Famer, hopefully, was the quarterback for 16 years. And before Eli, how many black quarterbacks were there? Period in the NFL. Right? There wasn't a lot. This is a new phenomenon that's started to become accessible to black athletes, and I love it because you're seeing a new dynamic in the game that you didn't ever expect. That whole college RPO, be an athlete type of thing. And there were times where I felt like wrong saying he's an athletic quarterback because it was almost like I'm saying he's a black quarterback, right? But it's long gone. It doesn't matter anymore. It's you think about the Randall Cunninghams with the Pioneers, but then the Michael Vick comes in and Donovan McNabb, even though he wasn't super athletic, he was more athletic than others. And now that you lead to guys like Lamar Jackson, who's won multiple 2 MVPs, and he should have won 3. I don't know how he didn't win it this year, but it's neither here nor there. Josh Allen.
It was Lamar exhaustion. It was Lamar exhaustion. That's what it was.
Right.
Like Lamar exhaustion.
Maybe, but my point is, you have Kyler Murray winning Rookie of the Year. CJ Stroud was fantastic. Jaden Daniels down in Washington. Like, it's become the norm. Like, it's not even a thing to talk about anymore. Right. But when you go back to the Warren Moon era in the 80s, he went to Canada because he was not going to play quarterback in the NFL. And if you look at his stats cumulatively, do this one day, he's maybe the greatest quarterback that ever played, era-wise. And so, like, I think it's an outdated and ridiculous narrative about people that most of these naysayers don't know and have never met, have never spent any time with, and so I dismiss it because I know it's not true. But I also know that when the right quarterback comes along, the Giants are going to take that person. And increasingly, guys, you know this. Most of these guys are black. Period.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And
I think
it grinds my gears, Tiki. I ain't gonna lie, it grinds my gears. So I had to ask
if they had a chance, they probably would have taken one last year. Like, they were talking to Caleb, they were talking to the Jaden Daniels.
Right. They wanted Jaden Daniels, but
they desperately wanted to. Yeah.
Yes, they did. Now, guys, really quick, of course, this is the fun part before we tell Tiki goodbye and thank you so much for his time, man. We got something special for you here, brother Tiki. Jeff, take the reins, brother.
Okay, we got to have a little fun with you before you go. And thank you so much for coming here. Almost 3,000 people in here. Tiki is good for business. So thank you for coming here. And we talked about your comical line before, so we're going to play a game now.
It's time to play What's More Comical with Tiki Barber.
He deserves a raise.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
That's good.
Okay, so
before this.
All right. I'm going to name 2 things, and you tell me which is more comical. All right. Up first, the double quarterback sneak or the failed tush push resulting in injury and turnover on downs.
Ooh, I think it's the double QB sneak.
Yeah.
That cost the regime.
Yeah.
The regime. I mean, at the very least, you got to try.
Oh, my God. It was
throw a pick six. You're not going to win.
Yeah, right.
Stupid, dude. It's
you guys know Marshall Faulk is now like a running back coach at Colorado or Colorado State.
I saw that. Yeah.
You saw his first interview, guys. What we're asking you takes no talent, effort. Joe Judge, give me some effort.
Just give us some effort. Give us something.
That was one of the low points of being a Giants fan, right there. Okay, up next, who's more comical, Sean Marash or Loogie?
Ooh. That's a good it's got to be Morash. Loogie tries to be serious. He's the next coming. He's a generational talent. Whereas Sean, I love Sean because he's a Yankee and a Giant fan like me, and he does not take himself seriously. He wants you to come at him. Come tell me that Snow White is political. with my
Oh,
3-year-old and 5-year-old watching this. Yeah, don't follow his tweets right now, especially if
he was all over Jameis too. He was big. He's big anti Jameis. I hope you keep him shit for it. I heard you a little bit, but
definitely.
Okay, very good. Up next, who's more comical, Tiki or Rondé Barber?
Oh, definitely me. My brother takes himself way too seriously.
Really?
He's
doubt.
Right, he's that guy who's like, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I played 16 years for the Tampa Bay. I'm the greatest ever.
I hope he sees that. I hope he sees that clip.
I don't take myself seriously.
All right, good. Up next, what's more comical, your NCAA bracket or St. John's losing in round 2?
Well, I think it's my NCAA bracket, and I'll tell you why. So we didn't talk about our brackets on air, but I picked my bracket based on who would win the football game.
Nice. You may as well. What's the difference?
Should have won.
So Clemson, Louisville, all these teams lost.
Subconsciously, I did the same thing. I just picked
early, so I got screwed. However, my final 2 are Auburn and Alabama. I got an Iron Bowl final 2. Oh, I'm still alive.
It might work. It might work.
Accidentally.
That is comical though. That's like when girls play fantasy football by like the colors or what mascot would win in a fight. Okay. Finally, last question, and this was the root of the whole comical thing. Which quarterback is more comical, Eli Manning or Jameis Winston?
Ooh. Oh, it's definitely Jameis. And Jameis wants yeah. He wants to. He's trying to. You know what? He's trying to disarm you. He's trying to like make it okay. And so, I love Jameis. I did a couple of games with him down in Tampa, and he is so fun. Last year we did a game at the end of the year with Cleveland, and they were starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Mm-hmm. And it came because Jameis threw, I think, 4 interceptions or 3 interceptions in the game before, so they had to bench him.
Sounds
and DTR,
like
and DTR got the start. And so we asked DTR, like tell us how Jameis is, and he said he's amazing, right? He tells me exactly what it takes. He guides me, helps me study, and so like his personality is amazing, and I'm excited to see what this brings, especially for us on Sports Talk Radio.
Yeah.
I know he's a good dude. He might not always be a great football player, but he's awesome. And so it's going to be entertaining at the very least. Again, like as I said at the beginning, you may hate him some days, but he's awesome.
He's smart. He's smart too. Like, and I being a Florida State fan, I follow him from back in the day. And it's a misconception that he's like dumb and like that he does all this stuff. He's actually smart.
He's just Southern country, bro.
Right.
That's what it is.
Just a different kind of. Like, again, most New Yorkers won't get it, right? Because they don't have experience down south. Like he's just country funny,
He just seems comfortable in any situation, like the streets of New Orleans or the golf course. It doesn't matter. He's just fun all the time.
And Teak, I got one last question for you, man, because Eli Manning, of course, unfortunately did not win the first ballot Hall of Famer. But in your opinion, is Eli Manning a first ballot Hall of Fame? And how did you feel?
You know what? I thought he should have been, because look, the issue with the Hall of Fame is how you tell the story, and so much of it has become political, not to steal that word from the real politics that are going on in our country, but it's become a political conversation, like why this guy shouldn't be in, not why he should be in, and let's measure against everybody else. And if you can't write the narrative perfectly, then they end up excluding you. And the prime example I always give for this is Terrell Owens. And so we had a conversation, me and BT, when it was still Tiki and Tierney, we had a conversation with Clark Judge of the Hall of Fame Network. And we asked him, I forget that year, it was like Brett Favre and T.O. and somebody else who were just obvious Hall of Famers. Like you didn't even think about it. And we're like, all right, so Brett and T.O. and blah, 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 you're not even discussing them. Like they're going in the Hall of Fame. And he was like, whoa, hold on. T.O., nobody wanted him at the end. And his last 4 teams, they couldn't wait to get rid of him. And I'm like, dude, he has the second most receiving yards and touchdowns in the history of this game. Like what? Like what? Where is this coming from? And what we became to realize was that there's like they created this narrative about him that made him wait for 3 years, and it didn't make sense. And so, like when I look at it now, what I take away from the Hall of Fame is that if they can't create the narrative about you, like tell the story. And remember when Terrell Davis got into the Hall of Fame, he had 3 great years and 4 really good years, and that was basically it. It was, how do you tell the story of the NFL without Terrell Davis? So they created a narrative around him because he helped John Elway finally win a Super Bowl, and then went back to back. Now, obviously, he had 2 great years. One, he rushed for 2,000 yards, and another, he rushed for 1,800 or 1,900 and won the Super Bowl MVP. But that's not statistically a Hall of Fame running back, right? And
but
so
there's a campaign or something like.
But there was a narrative. Like there was a story you could tell about.
Recency bias too, right? Recency bias, and then that
100%.
He ended on that.
100%. And so, and again, I'm not knocking TD because I think he was a great player, and they're right. You can't not tell the story of the NFL without including him, but you also can't tell the story of the NFL without Eli Manning, right? There was one team in the history, and maybe this happens because Kansas City always finds a way to not lose any games, but there was one team that threatened the 72 Dolphins. One team. And that was the New England Patriots. And they got beat by Eli Manning twice. So tell me you're telling the story of the NFL 50 years from now, and Eli Manning, who was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP, is not in that conversation.
True.
You're not. You're not. And so I think they made him wait for whatever reasons they had.
And Tiki, let me say this too, man, because I don't know how you could tell an NFL story without Tiki Barber. You know, I'm just saying we're
one of these days.
And just to let you know, we were watching, man. We were like, he made it to the next step.
Yeah,
he made it to the next step, and we're like, damn it, you know what I mean? So
Eli, the challenge is right now, bro. They hate running backs. The last running back to get in was Edgerrin James, and that was like 6 years ago.
T, you probably know better than me because I feel like you know all these numbers in your head. But how many running backs have 10,000 rush yards and 5,000 receiving yards?
3.
Who are the others? Do you know them?
Marshall Faulk and Marcus Allen. That's it.
Yeah,
so we're gonna start the narrative. We're gonna start the narrative here.
We got you.
Value total yards like that. I think every other total yard leader in the NFL history, like above me, is in the Hall of Fame.
It's not hard to put you in.
Even a couple behind me, I think too. So, but they don't look at it from total yards because the game wasn't about that when I was playing. The game when I was playing was about how many rushing yards do you have.
Yeah, because fantasy was still on the beginning end of it. If you were now 10 years later,
top 3 pick
this era,
consensus top 3 pick, a dual threat PPR gem.
But
maybe they put you in the Eli.
A product of how they use running backs these days, right? I was lucky because I was in an era not an era. I was at the beginning of the era when they used to throw the ball to us. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So now they do that a lot, but they use 2 guys. But for me, I wasn't leaving the field. I was like, nah, bro. Yeah. Sorry, man. You can score my touchdowns, but you ain't taking my yardage.
Let's go. And listen, Tiki in this day and age, in this era, I think Tiki will still eat, man. He's the man. You know what I mean? But guys, I'm telling you right now,
2026. Eli,
I agree.
And Tiki, 2026.
I'm telling you right now, you get that call, you get that knock, we're heading to Canton. It doesn't matter, man. We're gonna
bring all your friends. Bring your 3,000 friends.
Hands down. Shout out to the 3,100 people in the building here today watching us and Tiki Barber, man. Tiki, we do appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your time. Guys, I know you wanted to get the super chats. They had questions for Tiki, but we kept Tiki way too long. I don't know if Tiki wants to get to these 3 super chats here, guys. Forgive us. We'll refund you if anything, but we got to get Tiki.
It's going to a good cause, no matter what. It's going to a good cause.
But T, thank you so much, brother. I do appreciate your time, and I'm sure I'll text you tomorrow to bothering you, brother.
Most certainly. Cheers, boys.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you, man.
I love that guy, man. Love Tiki, man. What a great guy, guys. Let's wrap up here. We got Man, shout out, man. 3,100 people in the building. Teak was here.
What a night.
What a night. What news. And again, we apologize to the guys who did the super chats. Trust me, DM us. We'd be more than happy to refund you guys if anything, because we didn't get your questions out of there.
Hold on.
Please.
First of all, I don't think we stipulated $10 or more.
No, the banner said $9.99. Banner said $9.99.
Oh, okay. Then even. Okay. Then that's our bad.
Let's do the right thing. Let's do the right thing, so guys. Please,
for a penny.
Let's do it. Let's do the right thing. And I'm that type of guy. Let's do the right thing.
You're a true mensch.
Man. But
shout out, man.
Supers
go. We could show them now.
Oh, true.
I think it was.
I got you.
Peace. Yeah, I got peace.
Of course.
Yeah, Wahoo's, that's Virginia. He wanted to see how Virginia was going to do. I don't know if he's talking about college football. I would assume college football because Tiki is a college a Wahoo guy. So
all right, and then I got news after these.
It was also Tuto. It was also Tuto. That was
we got a Tuto.
Yeah,
I got you.
Another Tuto.
Tiki, if you ever shoot me up, Speed, I need you on this one, Speed.
I promise you, the opposing team's O lines, QB or ball carriers won't get off the pitch on their own powers, mate. Guaranteed. Killing dudes.
I am so terrified of Tuto. Imagine.
I love his vibe.
I just love his energy. Yeah.
I love Tuto. But guys, man, wow, what a show, man. I'm sorry, man. I was just trying to thank Tiki here for a second, but I'll get back to him in a second. I'm sure he's like off the bed. He got so much stuff to do in the morning. But what a show. We got new quarterbacks into the building. That's hopefully going to do something great for us, man. And guys, if you missed it, just rewind the Tiki aspect of it. And of course, my opinion at the beginning. But man, this is an hour and 36 minutes.
We went
live. Wow,
we're made for radio. We're made for TV. This is easy work for us. We can go another hour and a half if we really want to. I could talk Knicks. I could talk Rangers. I had stuff to ask that we didn't even get into. This is
Tiki jersey.
You guys are investing in the ones. We are the ones, and I'm telling you, we're gonna have ourselves a 3+ hour show, and you guys are gonna love every bit of it because we bring the fun, and we're gonna bring you guys content too.
I got a couple things real quick. Number one, we hit like 30% of our goal already tonight.
Insane.
Right? Yeah, our goal of $500 to get to Green Bay. We had $150 come in. I'm not a mathematician. Roughly 30%.
I don't do. We're not. We're on our way.
We're on our way.
Guys, I just want to say this. We just hit a milestone on YouTube subscribers. So, guys, if you're 3,000 people watching, please head over to New York Revival YouTube, please, guys, because we just hit a milestone. We have 1,900 subscribers that just hit a milestone today. Congratulations to New York Revival.
Thank you.
Wow, what a milestone this is, man.
And guys, we're not stopping. Guys. We're not stopping with the special guests. This is
we're just getting started.
By the way, guys, we have another special guest next week. We have another special guest after that. And we have another special guest after that. Guys, we wanted to give you guys during the entire offseason nothing but special guests. So please, if you can, go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're following on X, please hit that notification bell and follow as well.
We got the People's Mock Draft too. Don't forget the People's Mock, the week of the draft.
The final show.
We're going to bring the pros
in.
Draft. We're going to have people from each team in the top 10 picking the picks. We're going to get it right this year. I think at least the number one pick is going to get it right this year. I think that's that we can pretty much lock in Cam Ward to the Titans, but we're going to have fun and we're going to have so much draft content for you guys. You guys are all going to be pros by the time we're done with you on April 24th, where we will be to show you guys what's going on inside. It's all leading up. It's all working.
I agree. And guys, man, don't forget the People's Mock Draft. We do it every year where we give away money to the people that contribute. So listen out for that, man. And the super chats, we give the super chats that are made that day to the people who guessed correctly. Yes. So the more you put in there, the pot grows. You get the whole goddamn thing. All right. That's how we give back to you guys that give to us. So we do appreciate you guys, man. So just sweeten the pot a bit. But guys, let's run, man. Let's run. What a show. What a show. On behalf of my brothers, man. You guys know who they are. And that's Mr. Glass half full of nets.
Speed the genius.
Let's go. Come on now.
I like that. Yeah, I throw my voice. That's why I gotta drink this water. I can't drink beer.
That.
And of
course,
my brother.
Shout out to Knicks. Shout out to Knicks for the W tonight. W tonight against the Mavs, convincing W. We're on stretch run time, boys. We're on stretch run time for the Knicks and Rangers. Rangers are 1 point out of the playoffs. Knicks are sharpening up before the playoffs. We're hitting our stride. We're hitting our stride.
This guy's drunk.
I maybe had a couple of whiskey,
Chardonnays, couple of Chardonnays, whatever.
You had a few here tonight, people. We a little drunk today. All right.
How cool is Tiki Barber though? How cool is that dude? Like,
I love that guy, man. I really do.
What was it? You know, he backed it up. He could have canceled on us. He wasn't able to make it at 8:30. He's like, no, I could be there, but not till 9:45. And that, like to do that, you know how busy a day he's got tomorrow with this news breaking. He's got and he
came on here and had his opinion first with us.
He rocked
had
with us.
He had the ball. Like he could have just been like, nah, you know what? I gotta do it for my show first. No, he still honored the coming through and still made time for us, and I respect the shit out of that guy.
By the way, you want to talk about Aries season, right? You know his birthday's a day before mine, right? Just to let you know. So we text each other, man, just have a good time and be like, happy birthday, happy birthday. It's funny, great. So that's my guy. I keep telling you, man, that's our guy. So shout out to Tiki, man, for doing that. That is freaking awesome, man. And April 7th is his birthday, and you can figure out mine's the next day. So shout out to Tiki, man. But wow, it's coming up soon, man. Holy cow. But of course, my brother El Jefe. AKA white jersey, AKA blue jersey, AKA L.
New video, 10 a.m.
Ooh, new video.
I don't know how it's going to play in this, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston environment, but it's the daily routine of Shefe, the morning routine of Shefe.
I can't wait.
Wait, is he giving us the live update of the Russell, hopefully, or did you record this week?
Oh no, it was done. It was long done before. Russell was like tonight. I mean, I was long done with the video before the Russell.
Can we get El Shefe's opinion now before we get out of here? Maybe I'm just saying.
You know what? I'll get Shefe in the backyard sometime soon. I'm sure he has an opinion. Yeah.
Good. All right, guys, have a good night. We love you. Shout out to the Revivalists. Your boy Eli Rax, aka Vibes. We'll see you guys next week. Peace and blessings. Yes, sir.
New York's Revival, I'm in the building.
Let's
go.
Live with the Wood Live.
go.